Okay.
Welcome back to a new episode which you didn't previously start. So welcome to Freaking Epic Podcast. Number 3 probably. We don't know.
So we started this. I'm Nathan.
I'm Zach.
And we originally started another podcast talking about Spider-Man Far From Home. And it turned into Pokemon.
Yeah, we got entirely sidetracked and spent 20 minutes just talking about Pokemon, completely ignoring the Spider-Man trailer.
So this time we watched the Spider-Man trailer and...
We just finished it.
We're not going into like breakdowns or anything, but like...
Yeah, we're just going to talk about it.
We're going to talk about like our opinions, our theories,
Yeah.
and stuff like that.
Well, did you notice? Okay, so did you notice? It looked like there was a shot where where he was in the Spider-Man noir suit.
Yeah.
That was pretty cool.
The stealth suit, the Nick
Yeah.
Fury stealth suit.
Have you seen Into the Spider-Verse?
Yes.
Or
I
Edge of
watched
the
it.
Spider-Verse? Whatever. Edge of the Spider-Verse or Into the Spider-Verse?
Spider-Man something
Into the,
Spider-Verse.
well, we'll say Into, probably. We're very bad at this. Yeah, in that, the one that Nick Cage played, the noir Spider-Man from the 30s, where it's just like all black and white and third-person monologuing and all that.
Yeah, it would be crazy if he like started talking to himself.
That would be hilarious.
Like in the comics and everything.
Yeah, that would be cool. Well, I think what they've done is they put the little the AI
Friday,
as kind of
K.A.R.E.N.
Yeah, K.A.R.E.N. as a way to let him talk to himself without it being weird. Because a lot of it's hard to do internal monologues well in movies.
Yeah, unless you're Deadpool.
But that's kind of a play on on movies as a whole. But like that, I think that was a cool thing from the first one. I read an article and it was saying that those enemies are not actually. I thought like it was going to be Hydro Man and Sandman, stuff like that, but it turns out those are actually the elementals.
So there's theory. So my theory is that Mysterio, his character in the comics, was big for making threats.
Making threats.
So that's one of my biggest theories that I'm playing on is that Mysterio is making all these things. He wants to be the good guy, and Peter's like, oh, wow, cool, someone to look up, because Tony Stark's obviously dead, so he needs a mentor. And my
he thinks
theory.
Tony Stark's dead.
And,
theory.
but I think also that if you look closely at his powers and stuff, he's kind of got some of the symbols as Doctor Strange. Yeah. I think he maybe could have been in that little world at one point, and it like broke out, and so he decided he wanted to be like the next Doctor Strange.
So in the comics, the character of Mysterio is basically like an ex stuntman / special effects person who just tricks everything. So he has no powers, no skills other than he's just extremely tricky, and he always makes it look like he's powerful when he's not. Yeah, he always makes it seem. So I'm wondering if those will all turn out by the end to be fake, like that none of those are real bad guys.
See, but that wouldn't be the case if they were doing damage and stuff. Like that's some pretty crazy.
Well,
tech.
but you can make things. You can set up explosives at the scene to blow up and
I honestly do think that Doctor Strange, because they said that he's not like the Mysterio that we've seen in comics.
So okay, the question becomes, what was the difference between Vulture in the comics and Vulture in the movies? So
well, he had a daughter.
Well,
he was younger.
Had a daughter. Was
he
much
was
younger.
The owner of a construction site.
Yeah.
And he was Michael Keaton.
Yeah, Michael Keaton. He had a little bit of a creepy, terrifying edge. But he wasn't that the fundamental powers and stuff weren't that different.
Yeah.
So the question is, if he wasn't that different, are they going to make Mysterio that different?
I think they can. Honestly,
I think they can, but that's also the point of Mysterio. Is Mysterio, no matter what you do, we won't quite believe it. So it sets up more possibilities for trick endings and stuff like that.
Yeah. Well, I don't think he's super powerful. That's kind of why he is the way he is. If say he was part of Doctor Strange whole thing, he got into the thing and then it fell out.
Yeah, so what you're saying is basically he's like a failed Doctor Strange or something.
Yeah. pretty much.
Okay, that could be. That wouldn't be crazy.
Because he's in Europe. You know, he's on that side of the world where, you know, that took place and everything. And, like, he could easily use the powers to conjure up these things.
So, do you think they're actually real? So they're the elementals or the elementalists or something like that.
Elementals, yeah.
I haven't actually read a lot of comics.
Yeah, I don't know too much about them. You know, I think they're real to the point that they can do damage to things. You know, and they seem real.
So the question: are they going to be like? Do you think Marvel's going to make it so that they are kind of like a Sinister Six because they have very similar powers to the Sinister Six? And if Mysterio was like leading them, they could kind of make it into a Sinister Six movie.
I think the Vulture is going to be the leader, or they'll introduce Doc Ock.
Yeah, because last time they had the Vulture, and then in the post-credits scene they had Max Gargan, the Scorpion. Mm-hmm. So I was expecting, like when I first saw the trailer, I thought it was the Sinister Six because I was like, oh, it's going to be Vulture, Max Gargan. They're probably not going to put Doc Ock in because they'll save him for later, but they'll have Mysterio, and it looked like. Because they seem to be trying to use Spider-Man villains that haven't been used in the movies before.
Yeah, I do think another rumor, the Avengers Tower in Homecoming, someone bought the Avengers Tower. And I've said this since day one, they would not have put that in Spider-Man Homecoming unless it was Oscorp.
Oh, crap. That's good.
You know?
Oh, that's good.
Like they wouldn't they wouldn't iterate it, you know, like someone bought Avengers Tower. Someone bought Avengers Tower.
Did they say that or was it just shown?
They said it and then in the trailer you can see construction of it.
Oh. I thought it was just being reconstructed after being attacked.
No, someone bought Avengers Tower.
It's got to I mean if it's in a Spider-Man movie, it's got to be Oscorp.
Like that's so. I think the end of this movie or whatever.
I mean, theoretically, I guess it could be a Kingpin reference, but I don't think they'll use Kingpin again. I mean, they just used Kingpin Into the Spider-Verse, and they used him in Daredevil.
Yeah,
I think they'll let him breathe for a bit before they bring him back.
I think Harry might end up in this movie. You know, maybe like they become friends like from Europe.
They've changed people. They've changed. Oh, that's a really good point. Because I mean, like they've changed people. Like MJ is. Michelle, she's not Mary Jane, but they like, oh, my friends call me MJ. So
and that's the cool thing about Spider-Man. Spider-Man has introduced us to so many different Spider-Verses that it doesn't have to stick. Like every Spider-Man now has its own universe, and the Spider-Verse has really introduced that to the mainstream audience. You know, so. That's a really cool thing. So they could introduce Harry in a kind of a slightly different way because what Marvel, I think what I've heard is that when Marvel sat down to make the Spider-Man movie, they said, "What haven't we seen? What have we already seen? And let's get rid of that. Anything we've already seen Spider-Man do, we don't need to show that again. Let's start kind of fresh because there's so much Spider-Man. Yeah. There's 60. There's what from the 1969 did it start?" So it's basically like 50-ish years that it's been around. Yeah. So there's a ton of, and there's like not just one comic book line. There's like usually 3 or 4, or sometimes going on at once of different Spider-Man runs. So there's just so much they haven't shown. I don't know if Jake Gyllenhaal doesn't like feel like Mysterio to me. But that's because in like I'm thinking like the late 90s the cartoon series. Yeah. And he was always kind of like full of himself. He was kind of like a full of himself slick talker type. Yeah. And the Jake Gyllenhaal in this seems like he doesn't seem like that type. But to me he seems like he is the wannabe person that wants to get all the attention and everything like that. I can just say, I could just see it. Like, Jake Gyllenhaal in this trailer, he gives off, like, you're not going to want no part of this or whatever. Yeah. That sounds like the ultimate, like, I planned this. Yeah. And I'm going to look like the hero. You know? That's what Mysterio's. So you assume he's a bad guy because some people are saying he's going to be a good guy, and he's Mysterio. I sincerely believe. Yeah, I don't know if you've played the Spider-Man PS4 version. I think he's going to be kind of play off like that because Peter Parker most likely lost Tony Stark. Let's be real.
Yeah, I mean, I assume that.
Let's be real.
I assume
so. He's looking
Tony
for
Stark's dead.
Yeah, he's looking for a mentor.
They have actually said that Far From Home is going to start like seconds after the end of Infinity War.
Yeah, I honestly, I've been saying I think it could be a prequel to Infinity War.
You mean to Endgame?
To Infinity War.
No, because they specifically stated that it's going to be to pick up like
they've said a lot of things. They've said a lot of things. They also said that the new Avengers title wouldn't be, anything that was said in Avengers Infinity War, and it turned out to be Endgame, which Dr. Stephen Strange said. And then they said stuff about the trailer. They lied about Hulk being in Infinity War.
Well, they've specifically said that a lot of stuff, they put a lot of stuff in the trailers that's not going to be in the actual movies.
I don't know.
Which is cool.
I don't trust Marvel.
I trust them to make good stuff.
But when it comes to trailers, until that movie comes out, I do not trust them.
That's fair.
But
I don't think it's going to be a prequel because after Endgame, you'll want to like start a new series.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Like post Endgame, Peter Parker's lost Tony Stark, so he's looking for a mentor, even though he wants to be away. I thought you were saying it
might be before Infinity War.
I'm thinking, but I'm changing my mind.
Yes, talked him out of it.
No, this theory is he's looking for a mentor, even though he don't really want to do the Spider-Man thing. And so it's kind of like the mentor
fight between like Nick Fury, who's the mean dad, and Mysterio, who's the nice dad.
Yeah, he wants to be like, hey, you can be, public or whatever, and like third act of the film, he finds out that Mysterio's like, yeah, man, this is how I'm doing it. Peter's like, wait, what? He's like, yeah, like it's easy. And it's like, no, you can't be doing this. People are getting hurt, and then the obvious twist and the fight and stuff.
The question, like, I'm curious what's going on with Nick Fury, because he wasn't in a lot of the recent movies until the very end of the credits of Infinity War.
Samuel L. Jackson just came out and said he wants to do Nick Fury for another 10 years.
Well, that's awesome, because Nick Fury needs to be in the movies.
Yeah, I think he's
such a great behind the scenes. Like, he ties all the movies together. If you see Nick Fury, you kind of like. I don't think I would watch. Well, I mean, I would. Obviously, I'd watch any Marvel movie, but I wouldn't. I wouldn't like first choice watch.
I think they're kind of going the ultimate route,
I like
where Nick Fury is like gonna.
Yeah, he's kind of the spider web behind all of it.
Yeah, where he's gonna try. I want to see Madam Web in a
that'd be cool.
Spider-Man movie.
Madam Web, if they make a sequel they'll probably make a sequel to Into the Spider-Verse, because it's made like worldwide, I think $350 million or so.
Yeah,
so far amazing. On a like $100
they've already
million
confirmed
budget,
the second
110.
one.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if they start introducing like characters like Madam Web, because they had Hammerhead in Into the Spider-Verse. Like,
I want to see.
Hammerhead's
I thought Aunt May, when I saw the trailer, I thought Aunt May was Madam Web, and I was like, oh, that's so awesome.
That would have been cool.
But
I mean, they're just because they used a lot of like, I don't know, because they had the enforcers in what's those, the really silly Kingpin henchmen that are kind of awesome if you've been reading for a long time, but if you just picked up, you'd be like, so this guy hits people with a whip, and this guy's like basically a cowboy. What?
Yeah.
But so they might do some of the weirder parts like Madam Web, which would be really cool.
It would be really cool.
I don't think they'll bring that into the
live action
into the cinematic universe, because it makes sense for an older Spider-Man, not for like a.
I would love to see Tom Holland like portrayed, like be the Spider-Man, Spider-Man for years. Like watch him.
Well, this will be his fifth movie.
Yeah, but I'm saying like do it for like 10 years, like Robert Downey Jr.
That'll be really cool. Like, especially as he like grows up, because you can see the evolution of Peter Parker. Like in the books, he becomes a teacher at his old school and like guides kids on the right path and stuff. Like it'd be cool to see him just be able to mature into one of the elder statesmen of the Marvel universe as they kind of introduce all the new heroes and like.
I want to see the movies like the comics. I want to see like. Honestly, don't think I'll ever get tired of it. I used to think, there's going to be so much, but, like, there's so much potential. There's 50 years of stories.
Yeah, 50 years of... There's 50 years of great stories, and then, like, another, between all the comics, there's another, like, 50 years of good stories, and another 50 years of amazing stories, another 50 years of mediocre stories. Like we've
but
got
it's
so
like
much.
When Marvel finally gets X-Men and everything and all that,
That'll be cool.
I'm
looking forward to seeing how they do it.
unlimited.
Yeah.
Well, Kevin Feige said within 6 months, as soon as they get the rights officially, 6 months they're going to start filming.
Are they going to reboot them though?
Oh yeah.
But I wouldn't reboot them immediately. I mean, I guess Apocalypse
they'll probably start
not
with
very good.
Fantastic Four and then introduce Dimensions and
they definitely need those characters because they have a lot of the best bad guys there, and they have a lot of like. There's just a ton of different X-Men. Like the X-Men characters, there's like as many X-Men as there are Avengers throughout like the entire run. Like there's as many X-Men at one point as there are 10 years of Avengers comics characters.
Netflix is having a new show called out The Umbrella Academy. It's based on a comic book from Gerard Way from My Chemical Romance.
Is it a?
It's connected to the X-Men
the
X-Men universe and all that.
Umbrella sounds really familiar, but I'm thinking like Resident Evil, not.
Yeah, but yeah, it looks pretty cool.
I haven't seen. I'll need to watch that trailer.
Yeah, it's coming on Netflix February.
Nice. Have you seen it? I haven't watched the shows like for Marvel very much.
No, I haven't.
There's just so many of them. I like gave up trying.
It just started off slow, and then I just get bored.
Daredevil was really good. I only saw like the first 5 episodes.
I haven't seen anything past the Defenders.
Okay.
So I've watched everything.
Like, all I've watched is like the first season.
Yeah.
Not even the full.
I watched the first and second season of Daredevil, the first season Jessica Jones, first season Luke Cage, first season of.
Well, they've canceled all those because they're going to create because they're Netflix originals.
Yeah.
And they want everything Marvel to be on Disney Plus.
Yeah.
Which is going to be Disney Plus? Awesome, is that what it's called?
I don't remember, but it's going to be an awesome
Disney Extra,
service.
Disney Plus, something like that. Yeah, it's going to be. I mean, they've got especially if they own, they'll have all the Simpsons on there because, people watch Netflix partially because they're like, well, Friends and The Office is on there. I can watch my Friends. I can watch The Office. People like, The Simpsons is on there. I can watch my Simpsons.
Isn't owned by Disney, is it?
Yeah,
really. But Fox isn't Disney.
Or no,
Disney's the new deal.
When Disney buys Fox,
right.
they'll get the Simpsons.
That's right.
So they'll have 30 years of the Simpsons on Disney Plus.
I didn't even think about that.
And like all the Fox shows. So Firefly will be like eventually taken off Netflix and put on Disney Plus.
I didn't think about that.
They'll have a ton of stuff.
I don't know if they'll go that route though.
Yeah, they will. I mean, they'll put everything they can get on that because people.
It's gonna be awesome. They'll have every single Disney movie.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Every single Disney movie.
Yeah.
That's gonna be awesome.
And that's a good segue to the next podcast where eventually we talk about the new live action Disney movies coming out.
Yep. So, to end this, what did you think of the Spider-Man Far From Home? How many stars do you give it? How many webs do you give it?
How many what?
How many webs do you give it?
I give it 4.5 webs. But I'm also a huge Spider-Man nerd. And by the way, when they did the first Spider-Man movie, they made all the kids sit down and watch every single John Hughes movie, like every single Breakfast Club type movie from the 80s, because they were like, we're going to make one of those movies in the Marvel Universe.
Nice.
So I'm curious as to what the vibe for this one is, what they kind of said, hey, this is what we're doing. Because let's say Ant-Man 2, they were like, we're going to make a heist movie and then make it a Marvel movie. We'll make a really good heist movie, make it a Marvel movie. This was, Spider-Man was, let's make a really good, teen 80s comedy, coming-of-age comedy, but then let's make it in the MCU. So I'm curious if they're going to continue with that.
Oh, yeah. I think there'll be, a teen, like you said earlier, a young adult feel to it.
Yeah. But either way, I'm excited just because I really liked the first one. I know some people thought it was good but not great, but I really enjoyed it.
I did too,
and I'm looking forward.
I liked the twist.
That was terrifying. I was like, oh god! And the car ride is one of the best. I mean, that car ride scene could have been
Michael Keaton.
It's
a great actor.
That scene is like the scene from an Oscar-winning movie. That scene is just it's crazy intimidating. Yeah. He's terrifying. But I hope he's in this just because he was such a good character.
Oh yeah, I bet he'll be in after credits.
To make the Vulture cool is awesome because the Vulture's one of the lamer Spider-Man villains.
But I give it 5 webs because I love Spider-Man.
Fair enough.
and it's going to be an amazing movie. I went to see it opening day.
So you heard it here, not first, not second, not third, but like 75th, maybe 100th. You heard it here first. It's going to be awesome.
It's going to be awesome.
All right, bye.